Coming up on this week's Fever Film Room, the Indiana Fever got their first road win of the season with their 11-point victory in Connecticut on Sunday. Erlana Larkins joins the show to tell you how the Fever got it done. And after missing 3 games with a concussion, Shenise Johnson returned to the lineup over the weekend. Johnson gives us an update on her condition moving forward. And a playoff rematch comes to Bankers Life Fieldhouse. The MVP, Elena Deladon, and the Chicago Sky come to town Friday. We'll give you an in-depth breakdown. All that and more is coming up right now. Well, after an 0-3 start on the road this season, the Indiana Fever notched their first road win of the year. It was Sunday in Connecticut. Joining us now, Erlana Larkins, Shenise Johnson. You guys got a nice win out there in Connecticut, but a game where you guys, Erlana, got off to a good start and kind of controlled the game, I thought, most of the way. I know the starts are something that you guys had been working on, but just the way that game seemed in your control, was that what you were the happiest, most happy about?
Of course. I mean, especially after being embarrassed in New York. We just wanted to come out and kind of redeem ourselves and take all our frustration out in that game, and I think we did that, and we played together. You
guys are now in the midst of 4 off days getting ready for Friday. We'll talk about Chicago here in a moment, but in that game, Shenise, I think what stuck out the most to me was you guys were 8 of 16 from the three-point line, and that was an area last year you guys shot better than anybody in the league. Under 30% this year, so something you're trying to work your way back up to. But how important is that three-point line to what the Fever are trying to do?
Yeah, I think it's very important. But I think what's even more important is our ball movement. We were getting open threes. We weren't just jacking up 23s a game. So if we stay around that 15, 16 mark, I think we'll be just fine.
The assist numbers are really good too, and I thought it was funny because those games were going. That game was going on while NBA Finals Game 2 was going on, and you were seeing the ball movement from Golden State. It looked pretty similar.
Yeah.
When I know you missed, Shenise, those 3 games with concussion symptoms. Can you kind of take us through what you were going through, and do you feel 100% right now?
Oh yeah, no, I feel great. Having a little bit of chance to rest. Rest my mind, rest my eyes. I feel rejuvenated. I'm happy to be back out there. I want to help my team win.
Speaking of injuries, speaking of overcoming injuries, Elena, I know you were dealing with that knee last year. It was a big deal to you to kind of get rid of that knee brace. Can you compare last
year? Broke
out
of it.
Last year to this year? How did things feel different for you?
I mean, clearly the knee brace gone, but most importantly, the meniscus fixed. I had ended up with 2 torn meniscus by the end of the season, so having those fixed and still trying to build my quad strength. But I think the biggest thing is just being able to play and not worry about like actually dragging my foot. Like I can now pick it up in a running motion, like in a cycling motion. So I think that's the biggest thing.
I don't know if you guys noticed, but she's probably better on the perimeter defense than some of our guards. Like she's moving very, very well this year. Not only is she doing that, but she's a beast on the boards as well.
And we've seen how that hedging can affect defenses. What does that mentally do for you guys though, when you can have Shenise, a player like her who can come out and guard those pick and rolls like that?
It gives us confidence. We know that E's gonna have our back. She's always back there communicating. She's kind of like our safety. Yeah.
When you talk about getting over that knee, how much of it is mental for you? Obviously, physically, you look like a much stronger player this year, but what is the mental side of that like?
It's not bad. It's not as bad as I thought. I was kind of nervous a little bit coming back and playing without the knee brace, and I think just playing in Europe kind of eased my mind a little bit coming here, and then I was playing well the first 2 games, and then to have my leg back into again, it was kind of like, this could potentially happen any game, while setting the screen or just anything. So I just try to go out there and play because something like that can happen in practice. So if it's going to happen, it's meant to happen, and if it's not, you just got to continue to play.
All right, well, let's take a look at our Twitter question of the week. You can tweet us at Indiana Fever on Twitter. We might use your question here on the show, and this week's question comes from Greg, and he asks, what do you feel the team needs to improve upon the most to hit their stride this season? You guys are 4-4. Shenice, we'll start with you.
I think we lack chemistry early on. I think the ball was sticking a little bit too much. We was taking 2 extra dribbles when we were missing that open pass. I think just trusting each other, getting these games under our belt and having this week to practice is only going to help us. We're looking for a great showing on Friday.
She brings up a good point because it's only recently now you're starting to get that lineup that we saw last year go to the WNBA Finals. How important is just having those familiar faces out there on the floor?
It's very important. Like she said, it gives you confidence. But most importantly, I just think that the chemistry, like she said, knowing where one another's going to be on both ends of the floor. And we have quite a bit of new faces this year, so I think it's going to take time. You know, a lot of people that are rookies or first-timers on the team, so once they learn the system and kind of get their hair from doing like this, spinning with the plays, you know, and things like that, because it's professional and it's a fast-paced game. Coach puts in a lot of offenses and defensive coverages that some people have never played before. So I think once we get that all together and know where one another's going to be on both ends of the floor and trust one another, that around the Olympic break, you know, we're really going to start to roll.
When you talk about first-year players, maybe her mind is still racing, but you can't tell in terms of Tiffany Mitchell. Has she surprised you, especially being a fellow guard there in the backcourt, what she's done right away, Shenise?
No, because I watched her at South Carolina when they were making their run. Unfortunately, they lost to Syracuse along the way. But, I think her mentality has been perfect. She approaches the game, you know, with an attack mentality, with an aggressive mindset, and it's been helping us. We're thankful to have her on the team, especially with Bree being out, with me being out. She's been doing exactly what she's supposed to be doing. She
wasn't an early first-round pick. She so far has looked as good as just about any rookie out there. Do you see? Is there a chip on her shoulder? Do you notice any of that?
I honestly don't know, because I'm a little older, so I did not get a chance to see Tiff play in college. So this is a surprise to me. I just heard that she could play, and when I got here in training camp, I was like, okay. And then what was surprising is that she could shoot the ball really well from behind the three-point line. So I was like, okay, that gives us another shooter. And it's kind of like right on time, considering that we've lost Maggie. So I just think that her attack mentality is really what's fueling her right now.
All right, well, let's take a look at Friday's game. You guys had a really busy stretch coming into Sunday, an off day, a couple of days to practice and get ready for, of course, Chicago, and that a team last year who swept you guys during the regular season, and of course you get the better of them when it really matters. That epic Game 3, I think that Game 3 was one of the best basketball games the WNBA has ever seen. Your initial thoughts as Chicago comes to town for the first time since that Game 3?
Oh, man. Of course we want to win. We want to protect our home court. With any team coming into our house, you want to make sure that we send them a message.
You know they're going to be ready for it, though, right?
Of course. I love playing Chicago. It's exciting. Me too. Being that they have some new faces and, just for the familiar faces. I mean, who wouldn't love to play against the best in the game? They have one of the best point guards in the game in Courtney Vandersloot, and one of the better, I don't even know what she plays, to be honest. 3, 4, 5 in Deladon.
Right.
And then you have your experience in physicality and Erica DeSouza. So it's going to be a great matchup. I'm like I said, I'm always excited. They're down the street, kind of little bragging rights type of thing.
Yeah.
So it's going to be exciting.
Let's talk about Deladon, because in that series last year, I thought you guys did a really good job on her, and that, of course, is not a one-man thing. That's a group effort. Part of that is what Shenise was talking about with your ability to guard on the perimeter. But if you can remember back to last September, what were you guys able to do to kind of slow her down, especially in games 1 and 2?
Just making sure that she's always seeing bodies, always seeing numbers. Indiana Fever, we're a physical defensive team. We play team defense, so we're trying to make sure everybody's on the string. Just not making it easier for her, making her shoot contested twos, contested threes, and keeping the body on her, just showing her, numbers.
I know Stephanie White talking about just giving her different looks, making her see different things continually. How important do you think that is here on Friday?
I think it's important, because you give her a smaller guard, maybe who's quicker, and if she's running out screens, then you give her somebody like me who is going to be physical with her. But you just kind of have to take away what she does best, or minimize what she does best. She can shoot. She's 6'5", so a lot of us, if not all of us, are already at a disadvantage, and she shoots high. So we just kind of, like she said, we have to be there as a team and make things difficult and take away the things that she likes to do best, which is drive to the left and pull up, or if she goes to the right, it's all the way to layup. So the scouting is what's going to help us, I think, and we have to pay attention to detail coming in on Friday.
I know your guys' full attention is on Friday, is on Chicago. If you don't mind, let's look quickly at Sunday. Seattle comes back here, a team you guys have already played. You beat them here about a week ago in Bankers Life Fieldhouse. That's an interesting team because they're young, but they're really talented. We saw Brianna Stewart here once. What did you learn from that group? I think you were on the bench still recovering, but what did you learn from that group, that game that took place last week?
I would say that they're capable. Anything's possible. They have a great leader, and Sue Bird, and she's kind of bringing the young ones along with her. And then you have Brianna Stewart, who is kind of going to be the new face of their team, as well as Jewel Lloyd. And they did not have Alicia Clark, which is key to their team. So hopefully they'll have her back, and it'll be an interesting game.
Shenise, what did you see from the bench in that game?
Like she said, they're a very capable team. You know, in this league, nobody's really bad.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, you got, you know, Connecticut struggling, Phoenix is struggling, Seattle's like, you know, on the board, but you can't really, you know, relax and take any game for granted. They have a lot of great pieces. Like she said, Sue Bird's kind of their engine, but we can't take anybody for granted, and it's going to be a tough matchup for us.
All right, well, before we let you guys go, I know this has been talked about before, but if for the fans that maybe sit close to the court, they hear people calling you Mo, and you're E. This makes total sense why you're E, but Mo, I would like to know the story behind why Shenise
People always
is Mo.
ask me that, yeah.
I know you do, but for those maybe who haven't heard,
If you haven't heard, no. My name is Shenise Monet Johnson. It's just a nickname that, you know, I had growing up. It used to be Mooter, and then it was just Momo, and now I just dropped it to just one Mo.
think of the three. That's probably the best one.
The best one, right?
I like it. Yeah. All right, well, one
Good
quick
stuff.
key. I know we talked about Deladon slowing them down, but Chicago on Friday. One quick key from each of you to get that win here on Friday, 7 p.m. Fans can be here, feverbasketball.com/tickets, but one key that you want to see your team do on Friday is?
Details. Boom.
That was even one word. That was impressive. Not even
Details. That's what we've been stressing.
Rebound. They're a really good rebounding team.
They're a really good rebound team.
Yeah, I would say
Rebound details. You can see if the Fever can do that on Friday. Again, feverbasketball.com/tickets. If you're watching on the website right now, just click the tickets tab right above us. You can be here Friday. You can be here Sunday. Brianna Stewart, Seattle. If you missed them once, they're an exciting team as well. And the Indiana Fever will look for a pair of wins coming up this weekend for Erlana Larkins, Shenise, Mo Johnson. Ladies, thanks for your time.
Thank you.
All right, that'll wrap it up for this week's Fever Film Room. We'll talk to you next week.
EE.